We are beginning Lent. It is Ash Wednesday. The first thing I want to remember is that it's a day of fasting and abstinence, and that this tiny penance, because it's small, this penance also does good to our body, but above all, it does good to our soul. It is a weight, I repeat, a tiny weight of uniting ourselves to the suffering of Christ on the cross, because that is what Lent is all about, to accompany Jesus to the cross. But not only to the cross. There are two texts of two apostles, interesting because they speak of what happened before and after. One of what he saw and believed before the death of Christ, and the other of how he saw it after the death of Christ. In St. John, in the Gospel of John, in chapter 11, when he tells us about the death of Lazarus, Martha and Mary's brother, Jesus was outside Jerusalem. They had fled because they were looking for him to kill him. When they found out, because they were informed that Lazarus was very sick, after waiting a few days, waiting for him to die, because he wanted to do the miracle of Lazarus' resurrection before doing miracle of his own resurrection, he decided to go to Bethany, which is next to Jerusalem, and the apostle says to him, "It is a mistake. We just left there, and they are looking to kill you." They said to him, and they insist, "I have to go, and I want to go." Then the apostle Thomas turned to the other apostles and said, "We are going to Jerusalem to die with him. We are not going to leave him alone. If we die with him. We go to Jerusalem to die with him." That is a declaration of love. Then we know what happened. Well, the moment of the truth came, and they all fled, except St. John. But at that time, he and the others, because they all accompanied him, went to Jerusalem thinking to die with him. But he was an apostle, full of love, but he did not have faith. Why? Because Jesus, who had already announced several times that he was going to die in Jerusalem, he had never said alone that he was going to die. He had also said that he was going to die and resurrect, always. There is not a single moment in which Jesus speaks of his death in which he does not speak of his resurrection. But at that time, the apostles and the spokesman, which is St. Thomas, does not say, "We are going to Jerusalem to die and to resurrect with him," or "Let us go to Jerusalem to resurrect with him." Let us go to Jerusalem to die with him. It's an act of love, a great act, but without faith. Time goes by. Another apostle comes, St. Paul, at the end of his life, in the second letter to Timothy, which is possibly the last letter he wrote, possibly already in prison in Rome. It is the second time he was in prison in Rome, waiting for his death. In the second letter to Timothy, which is full of practical advice on how bishops should behave, there is a precious phrase. He tells Timothy, who was his beloved son, his spiritual son, his favorite son, the one who had always been faithful to him. To Timothy he says, "If we die with him, we shall live with him." It is an expression of faith. If we die with him, we shall live with him. We begin in Lent, and like Thomas, we say, "Let us go to Jerusalem to die with him." But like St. Paul, we say, we know that if we die with him, we shall live with him, we shall triumph with him, we shall reign with him. This has to be our perspective. We start 40 days of preparation, not towards Holy Friday. We begin 40 days of preparation towards Easter, towards life, towards resurrection, towards hope. But of course, life, resurrection, have a previous step, which is the cross, which is death. If we don't go through the narrow gate of death, we will know the joy of resurrection. If we die with Him, we will reign with Him. We will live with Him. We go to Jerusalem to die with Him and to live with Him. What does that mean? This is not an special end. It is very similar to the last year, although last year everything was just beginning. In fact, in some places, the blockhouse, the permanent closures, the prohibition to leave the house, etc. had not begun yet. Well, how many people, how many that we know, that we knew, are no longer with us? How many? Friends, relatives. And how many are ill? How many have lost their job? How many have perhaps seen their marriage deteriorate because of living together too intensely? How much pain? How much suffering? And surely, how much we still have to go through, which is an added extra to the normal pain and sufferings of life, those we have always, and the ones we will have, apart from the epidemic. Therefore, what matters to us, what matters especially to me now, is to teach that the weight of the cross is the weight of glory, that the weight of the cross is the weight of resurrection, and that this pain, this suffering, each one has his own. Sometimes there are so many that it seems impossible for us to bear them, that this suffering has a meaning, it has a value, it serves a purpose, that if we die with Him, we will live with Him. That is, if we accept God's will without understanding it. If we accept God's will, even if we do not understand it, if we are capable of uniting ourselves to Christ crucified, if we are capable of embracing the cross of every day, that of the sickness, that of money, that of living together, which sometimes is the worst of all. If we are capable of that, not of passing over the problems, but uniting ourselves to Christ in the problems, then we will resurrect with Him. If we die with Him, we will live with Him. If I, when I have a problem, say to Him, Lord, with you, for you, I don't fled. With you, Lord, united to you, I enjoy in these problems. I already have, at that moment, peace. The problem sometimes goes because of that pace that I have. But if it doesn't go away, if the pain continues, I'm not alone carrying the problem. I am with Him. He told us, come to me, you who are weary and burdened, and I will relieve you. Take up my yoke to you. Take my yoke, which is light and easy. I will be with your rest. We are faced, when we make this decision, we are before at least three problems. First, the world. He mocks us when He hears us say that we are willing to embrace the cross because the world flees from the cross, but it flees from the cross to get into other crosses. He spent his life in a permanent flight, not realizing that the only problem you cannot run away from is yourself. He moves from place to place, from partner to partner, from job to job, or from a community to a community. He changes because he does not want to suffer. And generally, what awaits him is worse than what he has left behind. The world does not know the secret of happiness, which is, out of love, to embrace God's will at every moment, even if that God's will is hard. The world tells us, flee, and Christ tells us, I am crucified because I want to be, and because I will resurrect. Second problem we have, the world is also influencing in him a lot, but it's inside us, not outside. It is something that I have already said, that you forget that any problem is a presence, is spiritual, not sacramental, but it's a presence of Christ. I can unite myself to the Lord. I can unite myself to the Lord when I suffer. Surely, we priests have not preached this for a long time. Possibly, we have not preached it because we have not practiced it and because we have never been taught it. But this is real. Any saint knows it and has practiced it. I think of Saint Francis of Assisi when in Laverna, already so ill, already so close to death. He said to God, he said to Christ, I want to love like you. I want to suffer like you. And then, the crucified Lord, with the wings of the seraphims, appeared to him and infused his body with the wounds. Lord, I want to love like you and suffer like you, out of love to you. Let us not forget this, because this is the second greatest danger, to allow ourselves to be dragged along by the world, and to believe that the pain has no value, no merit, it is not used for nothing. Third danger, to become people who only see the negative. That is to say, we embrace Christ on the cross, but there are also good things in our life. And we should see those too, simply to embrace. We embrace Christ crucified through our problems. But there are also good things for which we should give thanks and which we should enjoy. A woman wrote to me. She lives in Venezuela. Her son is in Chile. He has had an accident. He's having a bad time. Far from his country. He needs help. Well, and he complains that he has not been treated well, at least by some people. Well, but her son is alive. He has had an accident, but he's alive. Another person wrote to me from Colombia. He was assaulted. He complains that he has been assaulted. But he's alive. He's alive. It is true. You have a problem. You have a problem, I repeat. A health, family, money problem. But there are things that are going well. It is not about running away from problems. But neither is about being blind by the problems. Problems are an opportunity to be united with Christ. He gives you peace and strength. But there are also things that are going well. Why let your eyes be blind by the problems alone? So, let's go to Jerusalem to die with Christ and to live with Christ. We go to Jerusalem, embracing every day's cross, to be united with Christ, and to enjoy, when the hour comes, for having been faithful to Him, the glory of heaven. In the meantime, let us enjoy the things that we have. Let us, that the things that are going wrong, prevent us, sins, all that is going well. There is a quote from an Indian thinker, Tagore, that I often meditate on. If you weep because the sun is gone, tears will prevent you from seeing the stars. Let us go to Jerusalem as we begin this Lent to die with Christ in order to live with Christ, and we thank God for all the good things that still exist in our lives. So be it.